So as you know, I'm trying to make this steam engine using period techniques. My first go, actually. So one of those is obviously I'm not using any gauges with digital readouts or anything. So these are my calipers. This is a height gauge, and here I've got a depth gauge, and I'm using all of these to validate the height of this box bed. So the most simple way is probably to use the back of the calipers and use it to extend that out that way. Hold it against the side there or something and get a height that way. The next easiest thing is to use this. This is a Starrett, made in Scotland, very old depth gauge set that I've got, which is 1 to 6 inches. And the way you do that is, if I take this out, you get these little rods, and these rods go from less than 1 inch, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6. But you only ever measure the last inch. So the bit that pokes out the bottom is, so the travel of this instrument is only 1 inch this way. So you kind of have to be roughly in the ballpark. So in this case, I've got the one which goes from 1 to 2 inches. So you press down on the wings and you twist the dial. There's a clutch on the top, so you can't go too far. And so if I put this down here, it's not going to be too easy to see, I do appreciate. This is flat on there, and then I twist this dial until the clutch starts to go. Then I can look at the outcome, and we can see on here, hopefully we can see, that we are, let's try and get it to focus, there we go. We are in the first bar of the 1, and we are about 11 thou. And that means 1 inch and 11 thou. If we were like way up here, that would be 1 inch and 3 thou. That's probably the second easiest to use, and probably the most challenging is this guy here, this height gauge. And this height gauge is the one that's used to measure quite tall things. I don't know why I got one quite so tall, but nevertheless, it can measure anything up to 14 inches tall, and then about a little over 1 inch and a quarter in the normal arrangement, which is to have this tip on top of this bar. What I've done is I've reversed it, which means I'm measuring from the bottom of both. This thickness here needs to be subtracted from the dial, and then that gives me the height I'm at. And as you can see, that's a very good fit. You can tweak it using this little guy, and I'm within I think like a fraction of a thou all the way around. And what you can do there is, if I just rotate this a bit so you can see it in the light, is like the vernier gauge on the calipers. You look for where the bottom mark. Coincides with the large scale. So in this case, it's between 9.5 and 2 inches. Then you look to find out where on this vernier scale matches equally, and that's 10. So we've got 1 inch 960 thou on the dial. But as I mentioned, you need to subtract the thickness of this, which is 850 thou. So actually we've got 1 inch 110 thou on here too. So clearly one of these is more accurate than the other, and this is my first time using both in anger, so that's got to be borne in mind. But yeah, I hope you found it useful. I'm going to use that to try and measure up all my components.